Business Focus with Kudzie, Sharara on the Champions League breakfast.
Good morning and welcome to Business Focus with Kudzie, Sharara. Proudly brought to you by POSB, Simply Possible. Still in the spirit of Customer Service Week, going above and beyond. The People's Own Savings Bank, POSB, is glad to advise you on the introduction of a new toll-free line. POSB has just introduced a new toll-free line to improve your banking experience. That's right, you got it right. By simply dialing 223, simply dialing 223, anytime, anywhere, 24/7, you will be able to get in touch with POSB for any query that you have. You need assistance, you want to give feedback on any complaint, POSB is here and is happy to help you at no cost by simply dialing 223, simply dialing 223, and that will be good enough. All right, good morning and welcome to Business Focus, as always, with Kudzie Sharara. We have him on the line today. Good morning to you, Kudzie. How are you doing today?
Good morning, Tinashe. Good morning, everyone.
Okay, great, Kudzie. Let's begin with the latest on Zimbabwe Gold, ZiG.
Thank you, Tinashe. So, yes, ZiG has been on a strengthening trajectory for the past 2-3 days. It has strengthened. It has gained by more than 6% the last 2 days. I'm not sure what happened yesterday because the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe is yet to update from what happened yesterday. But between Friday and Monday, the ZiG was trading that on the official market by about 6%. And then remember that since its devaluation, it has been weakening, and it had weakened by about 14%. So it's some kind of a recovery on the ZiG. And I'm also hearing that even on the parallel market, some dealers that have been quoting 40 per dollar, they are now quoting about 35 per dollar, some even slightly lower than that. So there's a bit of strengthening of ZiG. And obviously the question for many is that why is it strengthening? One would put it to the liquidity crunch that is in the market, the limited supply of ZiG in the market. Probably there are no government payments that have been done lately. Also, remember that it's very expensive to be borrowing at the moment, where you pay interest rates of about 35%. Also, banks are constrained in terms of what they can lend. Remember, the reserve ratio is around 30%. So this could be some of the factors. Hopefully, we can go up to Christmas in this strengthening trajectory for the ZiG, so that those who get their bonuses in ZiG can also be able to enjoy their Christmas in a stable or strengthening currency. So that's what we are with the latest from the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe in terms of the local currency ZiG.
All right. Thank you so much, Kudzie. To all our listeners, you've got questions to do with business, come through on our WhatsApp platform 0719 100404, and we'll be able to give them out to Kudzie. So, Kudzie, you spoke about the strengthening of the ZiG currency as according to the central bank. Any relationship with the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange trading update for yesterday?
No, I wouldn't say there's any relationship at the moment, but the market was weak. With the all-share index down by 1.09%, and then the top 10 index also down by 1.97%. You know, with the markets, you never know what people are thinking. But if I was to put a link between the strengthening of between ZiG and what is happening with ZSC, I would say that if indeed there is a liquidity crunch, there isn't enough ZiG out there, then I would say those who hold shares might sell their shares so that they are able to fund their ZiG obligations. So if you can't go and borrow from the bank, if you think borrowing from the bank is expensive, you can then look at your other assets and say, okay, instead of borrowing, can I sell the shares that I have so that I can generate some ZiG? So that could be a link that you could possibly put. You know how it is with analysts. They can always find a reason that could be a plausible reason. You might need then to speak to quite a number of analysts and then look at the sentiment, whether they are sharing the same view for you to then conclude and say, well, this is the reason why this is happening. But for me, if I'm to put any link, then I would say you can see at the selling pressure there, the market is actually coming off. Then you can say maybe someone who's desperate for ZiG is saying, okay, instead of going and borrowing from the bank, let me sell some shares. And if there are no buyers because there isn't much ZiG, you have to drop your price, and then the market will come off. And the biggest trades were in Delta, about $22.4 million worth of million ZiG worth of shares changing hands in Delta. And this is ahead of its analyst briefing this afternoon. I think around 3 p.m. they will be releasing their half-year results. That's Delta, and it seems someone is already either taking a position out of the counter or into the counter ahead of those numbers. And then then companies that drag the market lower, EcoCash down by 6.28%. And when it comes to EcoCash, recently newspaper articles were saying that they have now fully integrated with all banks in the country. So there is no bank that you can then say is not integrated with the EcoCash platform. However, this is now EcoCash Holdings down by 6.28%. Remember, EcoCash, the mobile app, the mobile platform, is no longer under EcoCash Holdings. It's now under Econet. So maybe there is no link there between what happened with the share price and that. Then Econet also coming off by 6.27%. CBZ easing 6.26%. OK Zimbabwe down by 3.2%. And then First Mutual Property easing by 1.17%. However, that does not mean the market did not have any risers. ZHL up by 15%. Marsh Holdings putting on 5.36%. Wow. Marsh has had a really good run. I wish I had some Marsh shares there. It is the top performer so far in the year, up by 1,467%. That's Mashonaland Holdings. Hippo Valley also positive, up by 1.9%. South Africa adding 1.53%. Dairy Board putting on 0.38%. So that's how stocks trade around the ZSE. On the VFX, was up by 0.3% with gains in FBC, Insco, Zimbisa, and Zimplus. That's how the market traded locally yesterday.
All right. Thank you so much for that, Kudzie. But remember, Business Focus is brought to you by POSB. They have introduced a new toll-free line for you to get in touch with them for any queries, assistance that you'd want from the bank by simply dialing 223 or on WhatsApp 0732 200 889 0732 200 889, or you can send in an email on customer support at posb.co.zw, or better still, go through on their social media platforms, Facebook, X, LinkedIn, Instagram, or Skype at POSB Zimbabwe. All right, Kudzie, just quickly before we wrap it off for today, as we want to get into something else, what is the latest that we've got from the post-cabinet briefing?
Thank you, Tinashi. So the latest cabinet briefing is something, for me, it's something that we have always been talking about, to say when it comes to infrastructure development, we don't want the ministers to use the national budget to fund infrastructure development. And it seems now it's like a trend where we are now bringing in the what are known as public-private partnerships to come into these projects. And the previous one was Bitumen coming to do the Victoria Falls, Bulawayo Victoria Falls Road. Now we are hearing that for the Harare Nyamapanda Road, which goes into Mozambique, there's going to be a public-private partnership as well, with a special purpose vehicle being created. So this is now a build, operate, and transfer model that is now being used, where a private investor will come in and fund everything, and then they collect their money through toll fees and also some profits through toll fees, and then they will transfer it back to government. They are also supposed to do the maintenance throughout that period that they are collecting money. So if they built it today, then for whatever period that they are going to be still operating it, they will be maintaining that particular road. And these are the kind of infrastructure funding models that we want as a country. If we can do more of these, then we should be able to develop most of our infrastructure, even dams. I think we need to do that to come up with some kind of a funding model where the private sector can also come in and help fund the dams. Imagine doing that with the one for Bulawayo. Again, that would be good.
So we're looking forward to all that. Let me just quickly come back to a question here that's on WhatsApp. It says, let's talk about wheat bumper harvest. Any net effect on our import bill?
Definitely, it means that we will not import as much wheat as we used to. Of course, they can import wheat to blend with ours so that we can come up with the quality product. But we can also, if there's any excess with the kind of wheat that we produce, we can also export it. So that's a positive net effect on our part. We don't have to import as much as we used to.
All right, Kudzie, let's look at the labor force survey report. What is it? How is it looking like at the moment?
Yeah, there's a lot to talk about, Tinashe. I'm not sure today we've got that time. But all the numbers are looking south, like they're down. So the employment numbers, people who can be employed, again, that number is down. So I would say maybe let's leave it that for tomorrow. We can have a more detailed analysis of the numbers that came from ZiG yesterday with regards to the 2024 third quarter labor force survey. But it shows you that the labor force itself is down. The total number of employed people is also down, amongst other numbers that are down. But unemployment levels, especially for the youth, are actually going up. So, yeah, there's a lot to analyze there.
All right, we'll talk about the labor force survey report. That will be tomorrow. But lastly, Pauline is coming in on WhatsApp on this one, says, so Kudzie, how will the strengthened ZiG impact inflation rates and what effect will this have on import costs and subsequently prices of goods?
Normally, when the ZiG is weakening, we see prices going up in shops as they try to cover up that. But if it is strengthening, you then expect prices to start come off eventually. So that will mean inflation also slowing down. So it will lead to that. It's early days yet. If you can go up to December, then yes, you start to see inflation also coming off, because I don't think people will soon adjust their prices just because we have had 2 days of strengthening of ZiG. What I want is stability, then inflation gets slowed down.
Okay, great, Kudzie. Thank you so much for Business Focus for today. We appreciate. We'll speak more tomorrow right here on Capitalk. That does it for Business Focus, proudly brought to you by POSB. Simply possible. The new toll-free number is simple. It's 223. All you need to do is just to call 223 and you'll be able to get in touch with the People's Own Savings Bank for anything that you'd want to find out in terms of your bank. POSB, simply possible. Hashtag convenience made simply possible. Until tomorrow, have yourself a great day.
Business Focus with Kudzie Sharara on the Champions League Breakfast.